Hello, and welcome to the Bober Academy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Bober, 8-year NFL veteran, 4 years with the Giants, 4 years with the Chiefs. I have the honor of starting every position on the O-line at the NFL level. I'm also the founder of Bober Academy, where our mission is to train and develop superior linemen to dominate on the gridiron. So we're going to kick off our 2025 High School Lineman of the Week series. And before we get to that, I just want to give a reminder out there. If you are watching this on YouTube, right down there is a little subscribe button. Please click that. Also got the notification bell so you get notified anytime we drop a new video or any of my videos on YouTube. If you're listening to this on a podcast app, click the subscribe button. And then, of course, you can follow us at all of our socials. At Bober Academy is our handle. So, like I said, we're kicking off the 2025 season. And I have the honor tonight of being your podcast host, but also obviously very involved with Creighton Prep as the offensive line coach, co-offensive coordinator. And we brought my guys in this week. Coach Johnk is here. He's been at Creighton Prep for 9 years now, right? Played fullback down in Nebraska, was at Gross a little bit, then went off to Loganview, came back to Gross, and now he's at Creighton Prep. He's been a head coach for 25 years in Nebraska. So it's great to have Coach on here. And then, of course, we have three of our senior linemen, Ty Ravnsborg, Tommy Hollinger, and Elijah Ahianti. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this week.
Well, thanks for having us, Coach.
Thank you.
Yeah, I tell you what, I picked a great week to have you guys on, right? So for those of you who haven't seen it out there, you know, Creighton Prep, we don't shy away from a challenge. And being a Jesuit school, we like to partner up with other Jesuit schools. So we got a little series going on with the Smet Jesuit from St. Louis. You know, we went down there last year and we saw what a big time football program that is, right? They won the Class 6 state championship last year, which is the biggest class in Missouri. Tons of dudes, Division I players. They took it to us a little bit last year, but this year they had to get on a bus, come and see us at Creighton Prep, our first ever home game at Creighton Prep. It was just electric, and Creighton Prep comes away with the victory. Huge upset, you know, winning 42-35. So, Coach Johnk, you know, obviously you've been around a while. Tell me about this win against Smet and what it means for the program, what it means for the alumni, what it means for Creighton Prep to pull off that big victory.
Yeah, I don't think there was a whole lot of people that probably thought outside of our team that we had maybe had a chance to compete or even play with the Smet, just because of the level of program that they are and how bad they beat us a year ago. And so I know our guys were really motivated to prove a lot of people wrong. And it was a great scene like you said, at Creighton Prep on Saturday afternoon. We played at 1:00 in our new facility there on the north side of Creighton Prep, and tremendous, scene for Creighton Prep in general. A lot of people, a lot of, students came out, a lot of alumni came out. But again, it's a win, and it's a game that allowed, our guys to really shine on a national stage, really. And so our guys did that, played at a really, really high level, and I couldn't be prouder of how our guys played.
Yeah, it was a kind of a statement game, and obviously as a coach there, just the physicality that we showed in that game is something that we've been waiting for a little while, but these guys really showed up. Now, you know, the way this game went, for those of you guys that are listening or watching and maybe didn't follow the game, you know, we came out and we jumped out to a big lead, right? We're up 28-7. We go into the halftime, and they came out and just Smet mounted a comeback. They come back and tied the game, did some things to us. And then, of course, we went back and forth a little bit, and we ended up coming out at the end with the touchdown. And then our defense came up with a big stop here. So Tommy, I'm going to ask you first. Tell me about that third quarter, right? So I know they came out and they changed some things up. It's obviously we're running the football. We ran for over 200 yards against them. But our offense, we made a few mistakes, and their offense came on. What was it like, you know, on the sideline in the huddle during that third quarter? And what was it, you know, what did it take to get that thing turned around?
Yeah, so we came out in the third quarter. They switched the front against us. They put five linemen down, kind of challenged us a little bit more. And then, you know, when things weren't going our way, we went back on the sideline. We looked at some of the tape, those who weren't playing both ways, and then kind of figured out what was going to work. And overall, on the sideline, still pretty positive. I think what helped us win that game was that after things were going our way, nobody got down on each other. Nobody was pointing fingers. Nobody was blaming. And overall, I think if we didn't have that attitude, if we didn't have that that gel with all our teammates, I don't think that would have happened. So it's a great thing that we've bonded so much over this summer.
Yeah, we did have a lot of panic, and I feel like maybe in years past we started getting down and just wouldn't believe in ourselves, but we had a resolve there definitely. Elijah, tell me about what it was like to, as a senior, right? You finally get to play on your home field, right? What's it like playing at Creighton Prep, walking out of our locker room onto our field with our fans, with the CP logo in the middle of that field? What was it like playing a home game at Creighton Prep?
To be honest, it was just a great feeling. The fans were just like really electric. So like walking out there, everybody was loud. Like the fans were just bringing the energy, and then the team bringing the energy with it. It just like really helped us.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of familiarity on our own home turf, literally, and which we like that, and we're going to keep on pushing to the powers that be to try to get more of those at Creighton Prep, right? We'll see what we can do with that. Hey, so Ty, we go to practice this week, and Monday's Labor Day, so there's no school. But was there a difference walking into school on Tuesday, coming off that big win? Tell me about what the atmosphere is like with the rest of your students, your classmates, and stuff like that. Do you feel like it's a little bit different after that game?
Oh yeah, I think most of the student body, if not all the student body outside of the football players, thought they didn't have much of a chance in that game based off the results last year. So it was just, this feeling of surprise, but also pride, that it was their school that beat Creighton Prep. And, it was pretty nice feeling to have all those teachers and other students congratulate us. And, it was definitely something we didn't, we knew we wanted to win and we thought we would win, but not everybody in the school believed that. So it was nice to show them, we're a good team, we're a real team, and we can compete against top
nice.
level.
It's there's nothing like high school football when you're winning. It's great, especially going to school and around town and everything. All right, Coach Johnk, tell for everyone that's out there that's watching or listening, I'd love for you to share some thoughts on this year's team. Right. We know that, last couple of years, maybe weren't up to the standards of what Creighton Prep alumni, everyone around here, such a historical and respected program. But tell us how this team came about. I know that immediately after the season last year, the upcoming seniors basically came to us and really took a leadership role. Tell me about this team and what makes them special so far and what they got.
Well, that's one of those intangible things that not every team has, and you don't know, how your leaders every year are going to be. I mean, these guys showed their face immediately after our season was over last year in the state playoffs when we lost 14-7 to Elkhorn South. It was shortly after that those guys got together and really put a plan together in terms of, we're not going to have that feeling again. We're not going to have this type of season again. And they've really, kind of led this entire team and gotten everybody to buy into, that vision of, going out, competing, working hard, paying the price every day. And that really has bonded this group together, and I think a lot of that goes back to these guys, and kind of the bad taste in their mouth that they've had for the last couple of years as sophomores and as juniors. And they said, we're not going to do that anymore as seniors, and we're going to represent Creighton Prep, at the best that we can. And they've done that to a really a level that, in my 25 years as a head coach and 33 years as a coach in high school football, there's probably only a handful, maybe of teams that I've been a part of as a coach that have had, this type of leadership. And those teams that I've had that have been just like this have been really, really good football teams and have grown and gotten better as the year has gone on and end up competing for state titles. And so I know this group has got, that kind of vision in mind, and they've set themselves up for this type of opportunity as this season goes over the next 9 to 12 weeks.
Nice. Elijah, tell me about some of the senior leadership you guys have. You guys are all seniors on, or you're part of that leadership. But other than you guys, tell me about what you've seen from the seniors and how they've kind of stepped up.
So the seniors, they've definitely been a big part of the leadership. Of course, there's captains. They're obviously they're big leaders, are part of the team. But there's other leaders like Sheldon Galladay. It's 6 a.m. in the morning. We have running, and he's doing backflips. Like, he's bringing the energy, and like that's what we really need to win games, to bring the team together. And I feel like there's definitely a bunch of leaders that are not captains, but are still like leaders on the team and like bring the energy.
I love it. Just because you don't have the captain label doesn't mean you can't be a leader. And I know that when our captains were voted on this year, we had a lot of candidates, right? It's like you could have had about 10 captains by the way it all kind of came out. Tommy, I got this question for you. Tell me, how was this offseason? Obviously, your fourth year, right? You played some as a sophomore, started last year. What was this offseason like, and how is it different than the previous offseason? Because I felt like we had more of a workman-like mentality. We had fun, but we also really worked to compete it in the weight room, conditioning. What was this offseason like?
Yeah, this has been the most focused offseason I think I've been a part of since I've been at Prep. We had, Ty, Ahianti, me, we've all played O-line on varsity at some time at Prep. And I feel like having that experience already just allowed us to really know what was required and what work needed to be done to be able to compete with other teams in the state. And with playing both sides of the ball now, I feel like we realized we needed to push the other people who had chances to be able to play, to really get their fundamentals down, get the technique down, and really get in the weight room hard. So I feel like it was a great job by everyone who wasn't really experienced with what they were doing, playing both sides of the ball. I feel like it was a great job by them picking that up really quick. They did a great job. And then in the weight room and conditioning, this is the most well-conditioned I think I've ever been. I think we've ever been. We really pushed the envelope with the conditioning and the lifting piece. And I feel like that's going to allow us to perform a lot better during the season.
Yeah, we saw in the first game when we, were playing both ways against a Smet who doesn't play both ways, and we were wearing them out. And we have to give a ton of credit to Coach Trent Clausen, who's our strength and conditioning coordinator, who's really set I think, our team up to succeed and be able to compete all year long. Now, Ty, this question's for you. Did you see a difference this year in camp? Right, I feel like our physicality is much different, but all that offseason conditioning, this kind of resolve to overcome some expectations. What did you feel like when we finally got to camp and put the pads on? Did you feel like the practices were different?
Yeah, totally. I think like Tommy said, in the offseason, we had a bunch of leaders, from starters to guys who knew they aren't going to have that chance to play very much. They're all setting the example for the younger guys. And when we got to camp, they realized how serious it was. We due to weather, we had some 5:30 a.m. practices. Setting the example. It's early, but we got to put the work in. And I think we came out with good energy during camp. Focus. I think in the past, the leaders, the seniors, haven't been so serious about. We don't have much time together every day, so we have to make the most of it. And now the seniors, they realize how serious it is to make every minute count. So yeah, physicality, focus, and leadership have, I think, brought us to the level we are now.
Yeah, that's why I love having seniors on here, because there's something different about your last season as a high school football player. It's like a sense of urgency that we have there. And, I know with our schedule changes, we had great practices at 5:30 a.m. Those are awesome practices. And we had everyone show up. Really didn't have anyone late. We had some late 7:30 p.m. practices that we had to deal with, and our guys handled it pretty well. All right, Coach Johnk, let's talk about, I'm an offensive coach. So are you. Obviously, you're head coach. Let's talk about our offense, right? Tell us about Creighton Prep's offense and what we do out there. Obviously, we feel like we're a physical team, but tell us kind of some of the guys that we have on offense and what we're trying to do out there.
Yeah, I think we're a pretty multiple offense. I mean, that's something that in my head coaching career, we wanted to try to be very multiple, but also be very physical. We want to be able to run the football. We want to be able to play action pass, be very efficient in the passing game. And if you look at our game the other day, I think it was to the T of that philosophy. I mean, we ran the ball for over 200 yards. We were very efficient in the passing game. Jack Lammers, who is a first-year starter, who's a senior, it's really an awesome story, Jack is, because he was the B team starter as a freshman. And, he's really, really paid his dues, and he's worked really, really hard. And this last year, he has grown into QB1. And I think he has seen himself as that, really since last year in those. And we got a chance in the playoff game, and came in cold and completed a couple of balls in the game, late in the game, right off the bench. And I think he had a lot of belief after that he could do it. And so he's been a tremendous leader, and he had a great game the other night. His decision making was fantastic. Angelo Walker, who's been running back for us, who's played a ton of football, just like these three guys have played a ton of football for us at the varsity level. Angelo rushes for 173 yards and is a warrior. He's playing both sides of the ball. He's taking a beating on offense, and he's tackling on defense. And so, guys like him, Sheldon Galladay, caught a couple of big balls and touchdown for us late in the game. I can go on and on with guys that we have on that side. But at the end of the day, Coach Bober, it starts with the big boys up front, right? And these three guys that are on here today have played so well and at such a high level, and but so did Jake Brock and Cooper Gintz, and who's the pancake man. I understand this week, right?
Yeah, we got pancakes for our Tuesday meeting.
Yeah. So I mean, we have so many guys that contributed to the win and to our offense. But at the end of the day, we're going to be physical. We want to run the ball. We're going to play action, and we're going to really be a very efficient offense. And I think that was evident the other day.
Yeah, we're talking about our senior leadership, but really we have a pretty good mix of all levels. I feel like we have a great amount of seniors that are contributing, but we also have a lot of juniors and a lot of sophomores, right? So it's not like we're just, hey, we got a whole 22 seniors out there and we're killing them. We got guys, a guy like Jake Carney comes in the game, right? And Harpster and some of the young guys, Trap and Fix, and we got some guys that are contributing in every class. So we feel like we're just kind of continuing and starting this tradition of having these guys every year.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, we got contributions from a lot of different guys. The depth that we have, I think, is a huge strength for our team at every position. And that's going to allow to keep guys fresher, longer over the course of a really grueling season. And, and so you give those guys credit for being ready to play as sophomores and juniors. But we do have a very talented, 3-year class.
Nice. Okay, Ty, tell me about Jack Lammers, right? And we get to see Jack, warming up, and we see him in practice. Tell me about Jack Lammers in the huddle, right? Against one of the best teams in the Midwest, came out and played an awesome game, didn't make a ton of mistakes. I felt like he was a great leader out there. What's that dude like? What's that dude like in the huddle, and what's it meant to this offense?
Yeah, I mean, he's a great leader. He commands the offense just like a quarterback should. Make sure that everybody's there, everybody's ready for the play, paying attention, knows the play. Then he has this confidence, coolness about it. They scored 21 unanswered points on us. We're back to tied, calm and collected, ready to, put in the work. And really, before halftime, we're on the bench right after we scored our fourth touchdown. And he's all he's saying is, we got to keep our foot on the gas. We can't let up. We can't, because, they're good enough. They will come back. They will come back and win this game. We have to continue to fight. And, we saw that they could definitely come back, but, Jack Lammers let us stay calm and didn't freak out when things were not going great for us, and then they went great for us, and we won the game. So yeah, he's been a great leader, and he's somebody that I take pride in, protecting and being the blind side for.
Nice. The thing I loved about Jack Lammers is the mistakes he didn't make. Right, there were some plays that weren't there, and he was smart enough to throw it into the ground, throw it away. Does a really good job. Tommy, talk about your running back. Right, Angelo's a dude, man. Right, and he's been waiting for this opportunity to be the dude. Tell me about Angelo, what he means to this team, both offense and defense.
Angelo means the world to this team. Angelo's, in my opinion, best running back in the state. He can do everything. He's shifty. He runs guys over. He hits the hole. He's patient. He's just fantastic running back. I feel like he's probably one of the keys to us having a successful season. We have guys who can come in, back him up, but Angelo really gets in there. He really just delivers every rep. He just goes full speed. There were plays last game where he would hit that hole so hard. One of us linemen would be turned around. We'd be in the hole. He'd run us over. He's really he's an animal. And without him, I feel like we'd be in a little bit different position. So very glad he's on our team.
Yeah, he's got that perfect running back mentality. He's got like some dog in him, right? He kind of runs angry, which I love to see, and I know linemen love it too. Elijah, real quick, tell us about you've been a starter on offense before, you've been a starter on defense, and this year you're the starter on offense and defense. Tell us what's that's like having to play both ways.
It's definitely different, but sophomore year I played offensive line, and then junior year I played defensive line. So being able to play offensive line and then go to defensive line, there was definitely things that I saw that were different, like screens. I feel like I could read really well because I played offensive line, and I kind of just know how they set it up, how the offensive linemen behave and stuff like that. And then I guess just being able to play both sides, I feel like it just brings that competitive spirit out of me, because I just love football, and just being able to play both sides is just really fun to me.
I love it. And Elijah's definitely one of the guys that's played a hell of a game this week, and we look forward to that all year long. All right, Coach Johnk. Right, we're out to 1-0, and we got Burke this week. We go to Burke to play them. Tell us about the mentality of going to play Burke. We start our Metro schedule now, right? Tell us, Scott, about coming from Smet, going to Burke, and then going on for the rest of the season. What we're thinking about.
Well, I mean, the message to our team is that no matter who we're playing, whether they're from Omaha or they're from St. Louis, if we want to continue to be a great football team and respected around the state of Nebraska, we've got to make sure that we're taking care of our business and working hard every day, and not taking for granted, a team that we feel like, or other people around the state say, well, you should, you're a large point favorite or whatever, and you should beat them well. And I just, again, and these guys have heard it from me for, the last few days, is the fact that, we've got to come out. We got to just make sure that we're playing to beat whoever shows up on Friday night, and we play at our high level, and we control us as Creighton Prep. They're going to line up in a certain defense, and they're going to show us certain plays. And again, it doesn't matter if it says Smet or Burke or West Side or Lincoln Southeast or whoever it is on their jersey. We want to play at a super high level, and I know these seniors have want to do the same thing, but sometimes psychologically that's tough, and so we got to battle that a little bit in terms of trying to come off a huge win and now go and play Burke in their opening home game at Burke Stadium and try to play at that same high level, if not better.
Yeah, I know that, I can give my contribution here as well. Just after practice on Tuesday here today, we're recording this, I talked to these guys. I said, you guys, it's kind of good news and bad news. The good news is we had a huge win, right, against Smet. The bad news is we set this standard so high now, right, with our physicality, with how we played, is that we can't go backwards, right? The great teams know how to bring it every week. And it doesn't matter if you're playing a JV team or a state champion team, right? It's more about us than about them. And they've really taken that to heart, right? I mean, they're battling through it. And I feel like, if we can continue to get better every week, we got something special here. So whether we play Burke or Southeast, whoever we're going to play, it's more about what Creighton Prep does than the other team. We just got to, as coaches, try to get them lined up the right way and let them go out there and do their thing. Okay, guys, as we kind of finish this up here, I'd love having you guys on. So I'm going to go to the linemen and have you guys give me some inside scoop on the Prep O line, right? I mean, anybody got any funny stories? Any funny nicknames? Now I know Ty, right? We're doing drills today, and we want to tie in there. We're doing some really physical, like 1-on-1 or 2-on-1 drills, and like, where's Ty at? Because Cooper, our left guard, plays next to him, and Ty's over there getting a drink of water, And Ty comes running over. He's like, "Yeah, tugboat's here." Right. So I know they call Ty tugboat, right? Is that the deal?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Comes from Coach Moose.
Yep.
Moose Coach a tugboat. Well, just to kind of drop the anchor. Is that what he's saying? But what else? What people out there? What do they need to know about the Creighton Prep line? Right. We got some. I'm working on getting some shirts done. We call ourselves the Blue Dozers because we run over people. But tell me, you gotta have someone has to have a funny story about somebody at camp. Tommy's up there grinning. Tommy,
Tommy. I see Tommy. Yeah,
I don't know if I'm really freshman. Hoppy knows what I'm saying, but
yeah, I already know what this is about.
Freshman football. Halftime, it was a close game. We got really excited. Some people's excitement got the better of them, and accidents happen in like when you eat wrong stuff for lunch and stuff, and end of the day, sometimes you got to throw away a girdle or two. Or
that's just being an lineman, man. It happens. It happens. We're not going to name any names here or anything like that.
Of course not.
But linemen we don't care about that kind of stuff, right? We just kind of move on and go to the next thing. I'm glad you guys have kind of graduated from that. That happened only in football. Yeah. But lastly, I'm going to give Coach the last call here. Every team every year kind of has like a theme, right? It's like, sometimes you have shirts made, you hang it up in the building. Like I do this podcast every week, and almost every team has something that they talk about. Tell me about what our theme is this year.
Well, I mean, it kind of came about, in the summertime. I caught wind of some people around town that were kind of bagging on our guys and saying that Prep has nobody and, they're no good. And so as soon as I heard that, I went and I called our in-house t-shirt guy and said, I need t-shirts made as soon as possible with Prep has nobody quote on the front. And so we've used that as kind of our mantra here in terms of just understanding that, there's a lot of people around town that aren't giving you a whole lot of credit about your, how you're going to be. And we have a lot of really good players. We have a lot of really good kids in our program, great student athletes. And so for people around town to be saying that, really, really ticked me off. And so we bought shirts for everybody in our program, coaches, players, managers, everybody. And so these guys wear those around. And, I mentioned that on the news after the game the other night that, that's something that our guys have used that as a little bit of an edge about how they played. And they played like that the other night. And I think we'll continue to play and, like that to prove a lot of people wrong over the course of the 2025 season.
Yeah, and I can tell you from all my years of playing, it's all the times you were overlooked. All the teams that I played on that were high favorites turned out to be disappointments, but all the teams where we were underdogs, we end up having great seasons, whether it's making it to the Super Bowl, winning conference championships, making it to the playoffs. But I think it kind of speaks a little bit to like kind of the humility of our team, right? It's like we're not going to put our stuff out there. We're going to kind of do our work, and football is all about like the little things, right? What makes teams special is they do the little things better than anyone else. And I think we've kind of adopted that mentality here at Creighton Prep. It says we don't worry about rankings. We get to line up on Friday night, and we're going to see who wins.
Yep.
So I think that's our mentality. And, our job now as coaches, and I know as yours as head coach, is to kind of keep that pedal to the metal and keep that going and kind of, keep that humility and keep that ability to have that chip on your shoulder, right? Just because you beat a really, really good team does not mean you lose that chip, right? You carry it with you the whole way through.
Exactly. And these three guys right here will be big parts of carrying that forward for us.
Yes, I totally believe so. Well, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. I really appreciate it. Coach Johnk, your insights always appreciated. I've known Coach Johnk for a long time, guys, probably before you guys were born. And one of the most well-respected head coaches out there, just for the way he runs his program, the way he treats people, and the kind of teams he puts on the field, right? And then, of course, having you three guys on here, my three senior starters, it's really special to kind of have you guys on here. And I've seen your growth over the last few years. See, there's little sophomores when I showed up, and now they're all of a sudden you guys are grown men. So I'm looking forward to the rest of this season with you guys. I hope everyone who's watching this or listening to this, check us out, man. We're playing Friday night. We play every Friday night from now on, right?
Yep.
All Friday games.
Never had that before. Never had it before. This is awesome.
I know. I love it. The schedule's going to be the same the rest of the year. But every Friday night prep's going to be out there, hopefully racking up a lot of wins. And, before we go, just reminder to all the people who are viewing or watching or listening out there to make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and our podcast. Subscribe there. And then, of course, follow us on socials at Bober Academy is our handle. So, guys, I appreciate having you on. I get to see you guys tomorrow at practice. So keep up the great work. Thanks for coming on with me and spreading everything about Creighton Prep. And we'll see you guys next time, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.